We are the baby boomers. We were brought up to believe that the white heat of technology and the appliance of science would free humanity from drudgery, monotony, disease, inequality, and would lead to a better world. Our parents, many of whom had experienced and fought in the horrors of World War II, instantly elected a Labour government. That government began by building homes fit for heroes. It began with the physical reconstruction of towns like Coventry, Birmingham, Plymouth, London, and many other bombed out, rubble strewn Blitz areas. That same Labour government founded the NHS, free at the point of medical need. Of course, even then, after all the suffering, injury, privation and disease caused by World War II, naturally, the Conservatives opposed the creation of our National Health Service. In fact, it wasn't fully introduced until 1948, under my socialist hero Ernest Bevin. Service men and women, demobilised, would still have to pay to call a doctor, a midwife, or buy prescribed medications. Medical care that was offered free of charge to wounded soldiers, sailors and airmen was to cost them and their families after their discharge until 1948. After all they had done to defeat fascism, liberate whole continents from its grip, still the Conservative government resisted giving these people and their dependents free health care via a national insurance scheme. Historically speaking, why did the Tories impose founding our NHS? Why were they against the very service that has taken care of me since I first set my child's feet on this country's soil, having been born in a military hospital in Germany to a British serviceman and his young wife? Why were there Tory MPs who were happy to hear the screams of people dying of terminal cancer because their relatives were too poor to afford morphine and painkillers? Incidentally, the late Harry Patch, who also fought in World War II, describes being out in a courtyard of a summer as a child and hearing the agonising screams of ordinary people dying without pain relief. So why would the Tories still not want to have health care included as part of a national insurance scheme that would be required in order to pay in a small charge according to each person's means, and then we get that care? I can only speculate that even then, as now, it was all about retaining power over ordinary people and ensuring corporates, individuals who supply these services, could charge what they wanted and thereby earn as much as possible from their livelihood. I can only believe that providing basic health care was against free market principles. I can only assume that the rich and powerful, who could afford the best medical care there was, felt that their being able to buy it was grossly unfair that ordinary people should benefit from a service just because they had paid a small insurance contribution for something that they would buy for themselves and their families. Personally, I think that their objection was far more sinister. I think they'd grown used to using poverty and disease to keep the working classes in their places and in check. I believe They feared a healthy and, of course, state-educated population. Above all, healthy and educated people organise themselves and challenge structures of power and injustice. The elites were as frightened of losing control then as much as they are today. Another promise made to us baby boomers, if you'll forgive me, during the flower power decade and the Vietnam War was that we could use existing and future technology to produce more leisure time. And we'd all be retired by 55 years old at the very least. The robots would do the work, and just like in all of those science fiction books we read, the HAL 9000 from Kubrick's 2001 A Space Odyssey would leave us all enjoying life down at the pub. And it would even serve the drinks. Well, that never happened. And now we find the retirement age rising for our state pensions. And who really does get the true benefits from the latest technology? You've guessed it, those super rich people all watching over us again while we make their fortunes for them every day. It's called capitalism, and it's destroying our lives, our planet, and the lives of our children.